we announced from inception that this was going to be phase one of our quest to basically, raise a new tribe of influencers who can create innovative solutions that transform society everywhere they go in service to God and humanity. Very, very clear. And that's why we try to recite our vision, we try to recite our values, and then we try to talk about our mission and our DNA creed every meeting day. Now, from next week, we are going to take it up to phase two, right? And phase two is basically, we're going to start building a community. So if you are not on our database, right, you may not be incorporated because we have learned a whole lot. And one of the things that Gospel, when it came, talked about is the need for us to infuse a code where the strong can help the weak. So for example, people in various, from the last time I checked, we have people from various nations. So if we have people in the UK, there are things they can do together in the UK, and there are things even Nigeria can join them to do in the UK in form of investments. There are things US people might be able to do. It can spread. It's going to be carefully managed. So we're entering that phase two, that we are going to get into projects together. We're going to get into that point where every theory we have learned, we're going to build it into practical, where we do not want anyone to be left behind. If you don't create transgenerational wealth, I've said it here before, a good man leaves inheritance for his children's children. We quote it. The Jews have built it into a framework where you can almost know that the next generation is going to meet wealth. In Africa, every new generation is starting to chart their course by themselves, simply because we don't even build enough, let alone retaining enough. Even our succession has a bit of problem. So if you are not on our database, Ayo Lawrence, please, you can put the link on the chart. Kindly click and ensure that your name is there, especially if you are not an attendee, you think this is a place, a tribe you want to belong, and you're going to be regular in our meetings. Now, we don't want people who are just going to show up and disappear and they're going to give us problems. No. And that's why we're going to do a proper screening. We're going to have various zones, and we will know who our people are. We don't want trouble as well. I'm bound by US laws, and I need to be very, very careful. So please ensure that your name is on the database. Very soon, I do a broadcast every Sunday. Very soon, I'm not going to do any broadcast, okay? So that people who want to be here will be here, and we know the people we're building with. Now, today, I have my brother in the building. Now, I don't use that word, my brother, for everybody. But this one, we met a couple of years ago. Somebody had him and had me and said to me that, Praise, I know someone who thinks and talks like you. The person said the same thing to him. So the person sent me his blog. I went to read his blog, and I was almost going to say, this guy is stealing my content. He has hacked into my system and is posting my content as his own. Now, when we started interacting, we both realized how similar we are in several ideologies. If I need to have deep conversations about anything, especially religion, that cannot make it to social media, that if people see those conversations, they can stone both of us. It's Zeal I have that conversation with himself and Fisayo most of the time. So I have my brother in the building. We talk almost every time, and we always say that people should not invite the two of us to the same meeting because we would literally say almost the same thing. So we welcome Zeal Akaraiwe to today's meeting. Okay, Zeal, where are you? Admin, can you help me put him on the screen? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Afternoon.
You are shining.
Good afternoon, Mr. Zeal. Good to have you on the show today.
Good afternoon.
Oh boy, you are just chopping this money alone. You are not sharing it around. That's not. Are you also practicing delegatocracy? Government of the delegates, by the delegates for the people. Is that what
I've been trying to do that, so it's not working for me. They didn't allow me.
Oh my God. Anyway, Zeal, you're welcome. So good to have you in the house today. I mean, it's one of us,
Thank
not
you.
new to the house, one of our top facilitators. I think this should be your second or third session with us. All right.
Possibly. Let me go.
Why are you always
I'm
moving
moving
around when
downstairs.
it's time to do House of
No,
City?
I'm going downstairs so that we have less interruption. Don't worry.
Because I know every time you're always moving. Okay.
No.
Today we continue our discussion on building a financial war chest, and we're going to be taking Zeal up on how to build and consolidate, your wealth. I know that Zeal helps the super rich consolidate their wealth. It helps them invest and
Amen.
Shut up. Okay. But Zeal, and I know that Zeal is more than an investment banker, an investment person. Zeal is also very cerebral, and I know he's someone who is very deep on the psychology of wealth. Now, Zeal, looking at Africa and looking around our environment and the people you have interacted with, you are one person I know who believes in making money for good. You believe that good can be funded if we make money legitimately, because Zeal is an angel. He has a pet project where you will see him pay hospital bills for people who couldn't afford hospital bills and they wouldn't know who paid it. He doesn't announce it. And I've seen him do that severally. So a lot can be done with money. But why is a lot of people across Africa very, very poor? From your understanding and from your deep study, because I know you're a deep thinker, why does it look like the resources are in the hands of the few? The ones who need it don't have access to it. Why is that imbalance? And what do you think is happening there? Let me start that way.
Okay. Let me start by, there are 4 words I want to explain first, because it will help frame the conversation properly. 2 words, there are 2 pairs of words, and we usually use them interchangeably, but I need to clarify so that when I'm using them, it will be well understood. The first is the difference between poverty and being poor. They're not the same thing. Being poor is not having assets, not having assets that you've accumulated, or not having cash flow. So you don't have any assets to your name. It's a very physical thing. That's what it means to be poor. To live in poverty is a mindset. It's not a physical thing. It's about your state of mind. Poverty is the state of mind where you are constantly anticipating lack. So that's the difference between being poor and being in poverty. Of course, a lot of people, because they are poor, they have no assets, they have nothing, their mindset changes. And so because they are poor, they're also in poverty. But not everybody in poverty is poor. Now, the difference between being rich and being wealthy, being rich is an accumulation of assets. You've got a lot of assets. We can put a number to the value of your assets. You have 10 bank accounts with $1 million each. You are rich. How rich are you? You are $10 million rich. That's what it means to be rich. What it means to be wealthy, wealthy is a mindset where you are always constantly anticipating excess, right? So you would notice that being poor is the opposite of being rich, and being in poverty is the opposite of being in wealth. So I need to explain that. So you find that a lot of people you're referring to, praise, are poor. They don't have assets. Not all of them are in poverty. So what you would find is that if you can go around and you don't have a lot of assets, you don't have house, you don't have car and all that, but you do not anticipate lack. That means your mindset is one of abundance, which means anything you get, for you, it is almost excess. So when you ask the question about why is Africa with so much resources, why are the people living in poverty and why are they poor? Because in Africa, generally, we're both largely poor and in poverty? It's two reasons. One reason is largely education. The reason I say that is anything that has to do with a mindset has its roots in education. And by education, I don't mean going to school. I mean being exposed and having the ability to ask the right questions so that you get relevant answers to solve personal and societal problems. That's education. And you would find that generally in let me not say Africa, let's talk about Nigeria first, where I'm sure a lot of our culture, let me situate them side by side. If I say education is the ability to ask questions so that you get answers so that you can solve problems, that's what education is. If you look at our culture in Nigeria, a lot of our culture does not allow us to ask questions. If you look at our religion, a lot of our religion does not allow us to ask questions. And then if you look at our government, a lot of our government does not allow us to ask questions. So if our entire societal framework and the system we operate within does not allow us to ask questions, then it means that our framework does not allow us to be educated. And if you're not educated, there's a very high probability you will constantly be in poverty. So that's part of the reason. Part of the reason is that we are not educated. We don't understand what it means. And when you are educated by asking questions, when somebody has $1 million and he needs 500,000, education is going to ask you, this extra 500,000, what am I going to do with it? If you're not educated, all you want to do is to keep it. Because if you're living with a mindset that is constantly anticipating lack, what you're going to say to yourself is, you don't know tomorrow. And I'm not saying don't save, but someone's going to say, I can have accident tomorrow, this can happen tomorrow. And so people accumulate because they are constantly anticipating that sometime in the future they will lack something. And that's poverty. So it is possible to have a lot of assets and still have a mindset of poverty. Yeah.
Wow. Zeal, you have started as usual, scattering the table as it were. Now, and you situated it that you can have riches and other a lack mentality, and I think you're very correct, because I remember that many years ago on campus, we were three friends, and I don't know if my friend is on the dial, but remember the story that we walk by, buy new what do you call it, new shoes, and there's one friend of mine who will never wear his shoe. He will go and keep it, and we'll ask him, why are you not wearing this shoe? You know what he will tell us? He said his father is going to retire very soon, so he's saving the shoe for raining day. So we had to begin to challenge him. I mean, to say, are you anticipating that you're going to be wearing this shoe in 10 years time? And, so as you were talking, it just brought it home for me. Now, I want you to zone in, now that you have separated the two, let's start with, accumulation of assets, because both are actually good for you to have the wealthy mentality and for you to be able to accumulate assets. Now, a lot of people believe that, assets is out of their reach. They will even tell you, what I'm earning is not enough. So where am I going to get the extra to, get assets? And I know that, for example, if I have 1,000 and I say I want to start building wealth, I want to start building riches, I know, Zeal, you are not going to work for me because your fees alone, I can't even afford it. Right. So people in that spectrum.
Amen.
Shut up. We both know the truth. People in that spectrum, what is the hope for them? Where exactly do they need to start from?
So it's there's this book I read. It was an amazing book. It is an amazing book. It's a very deep book. If you're not ready for deep things, avoid the book. But it's a simple book at the same time. A Happy Pocket Full of Money. Okay. If you read that book, your entire understanding and mindset around money will change. It will shift dramatically. So, will everybody be rich? No. Even I believe it's in the Bible. They said, don't worry, the poor, they will always be with you. Isn't it? Somewhere in the Bible, right? So everybody will not be rich. And I don't think it is the aspiration for everybody to be rich. But everybody should be wealthy. And like I said, wealth is a mindset. You can teach everybody sufficiency and contentment. But for those who want to be rich, the first thing I ask people like that is, give me an amount of money that if you make, Pepe, don't rest. You can relax and give me an amount of money for that. And when they give me that amount of money, we'll discuss it. It will amaze you how revealing whatever amount you come up with tells about your background, your character, your anticipations, your vision. So when they give you the amount of money, we have a discussion around it. And I ask them, if I give you 10 times this amount that you've asked for, that you'll be satisfied with, what will you do? Most of them say they will take it. All I've asked say they'll take it. And I said, what will you do with the extra? And you know what the invariable answer is? Let me get it first. So number one secret I have found about making money is decide what you will do with it before you make it. It is crucial in the mechanism of making money. If you want to have money and say, let me get it first, then I will know what to do with it. You don't need it. And the universe shares according to utility, not according to your wishes. So if you don't know what you will do with it, I promise you, the probability of getting it reduces. So, excuse me, the first thing is, if somebody gives me, let me pick an amount, 1 billion naira today, barring paperwork restrictions and all that. Today is Sunday, Monday is holiday. By Wednesday, it's gone. I already know where it's going. It comes and it goes. And the analogy I use, it's a very disgusting analogy. I say money is, not that money is like, money is shit, poo-poo. And the reason I say that is nobody in his right mind sits down and prays and says, God, today, or rather tomorrow when I wake up, the shit I want to shit, let it be big. Let me shit the biggest shit I've shot in my life. Nobody prays that prayer. But people will pray, let me eat well. When you understand that your digestive system is a system, a process, input, output, you put food in your mouth, whether you like it or not. Sometime in the next 24 to 72 hours, the food will come out in a form you will not like.
Yeah.
That's just it. If you want the food to come out in the proper way at the proper time, then you put in your food, your solids with the right fluids, with the right juices, with the right fruits and all that. That's the process. You can't control the output by touching the output. You control the output by controlling the input. So the question what I tell people is, money is the end product of a process. What is the process? If you don't know the process, how do you begin to affect it? How much money you have. Nobody says, because I want to poo-poo, big poo-poo, I will go to my neighbor's sockaway and carry all the poo-poo inside there. If he does that, you would think he's mad. And indeed, he'll be mad. And that's the same thing about people that want to accumulate money, the end product of a process. And even if you are able to go to your neighbor's house and empty his sockaway into your own house, after a few days, what will happen? Praise.
It's also going to be full.
The house will be smelling.
Yeah.
There'll be flies. And what do flies and smelling poo-poo bring? Sickness, disease that will lead to what? Death. It's the same thing with money. If you go and accumulate money for the sake of having money, it's going to come with all the things it comes with. And after some time, so what you do is, it's not when you want to go to toilet, you go and buy tissue paper. Before you go to toilet, the tissue paper is waiting, the toilet is waiting, the water is waiting. Once you finish, do you turn around and start to admire it? Once you finish, you get rid of it. You flush, you get rid of it. That you get rid of it does not mean you don't like it. It just means it's not meant to be with you. And the moment you can understand this regarding money, Before it comes, know what you want to do with it. When it comes, you don't sit down and start admiring it. You deploy it. You deploy it into the needs that you have, because money was created for only one thing. The only usefulness of money is to be spent. If you have money you cannot spend, it is useless. If you have money and you cannot spend it, it is useless. Money is only useful when you can give it out and collect something in return, whatever that something is. I want to be entertained. I go to a movie, I give them money, they let me watch a movie, I laugh. Looking at the money does not make me laugh. If you see somebody laughing at a pile of money on his table, you'll be wondering, Uncle, is everything okay? So to get out of being poor and to get out of the poverty mindset, you have to understand the basic laws around money. Money is a means to an end. Money is a creation of man. Money is meant to make you comfortable, to make you help you get what will make you fulfilled. Money is not designed to be accumulated for the sake of itself. So that's the first thing I tell people. Design what you want with money. Understand the process. People's processes are different. Messi's process for making money is not the same process of Bill Gates for making money. Yeah. It's not the same process as Elon Musk for making money. It's not the same process as Nigerian delegates for making money. But you have to know, what is it I have? Where does my process start? What is it that I must do that, irrespective of what happens over time, the end result is money? Each individual, some people like to call it talent or whatever. I don't like using those terms, but you need to find your own process. What is it that I can do seamlessly, that whether I like it or not, in the end, money comes out?
Okay, Zeal, I mean, I was almost tempted to ask you when you said by Wednesday, the money would have gone. I wanted to ask, where does the money go? Are you comfortable to share where that your money goes, by Wednesday? Because I know there's a system in there.
So like I said, there's an amount of money that will go by Wednesday, and I gave that amount. If you make that money times 10, it will not go by Wednesday. If you make that money times 1, because you see that money, that amount I put, I already know where it is going without it. I've already designed that. Anything that comes in, I deploy it. Now, the reason I'm not willing to share it, but now I can share a bit of it. One of the things I want to do with large sums of money is to create a trust for my children's education, right? Up to university, where I am no longer the one paying their school fees. A trust that I've designed is paying the school fees. Why do I want to do that? And this is important. The why is important. The why is, I believe there are certain things I want to do where there's a high probability I will be victimized and I might even be killed. And I don't want my children to pay the price of my ambition or my own digression. So I will secure my children first. Then I'll go and do what I want to do. So that amount of money buys me freedom, praise. That's what I call freedom. It gives me the freedom. I can do anything. Like the repercussion for me to be bold enough to do certain things I want to do is I look at my kids and say, I don't want them to suffer for my decisions. Once I secure them, then I'm free to do anything I like.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, you answered the question, and I think because I love people to be able to take action as you are talking. Now, Zeal, you and I have had some conversations around ritual money, which is very heavy in Africa. Money ritual, money ritual, money ritual, and your perspective is very similar to my perspective, So I want you to touch on ritual money, is there any spirit, because ritual money is not so different from just praying and believing that you're going to be rich by prayers, whichever way, either through the blood of Jesus or whatever, some spirit is bringing the money. What do people, because this has held a lot of people bound. And it pains my heart when I see people Monday morning, attending some prosperity meetings or going to some babalawo to go and kill something or eat poo-poo. What do you think is happening in there, right? Is there a money ritual that people can make, and voila, it can just be dropping some $1 million every? What's happening there?
How will I put it? If you study making money, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Making money is always Always. Always. I don't usually use superlatives like never and always, but this time I'll tell you, making money is always a ritual. Ritual being a process, a repetitive process, something you do consistently over time. Now, most people that have jobs wake up Monday morning, have their bath, dress up, go to work, get to work at 8, stay there till 5, 6, 7, and then go back home. They do this every single day, 5 days a week for a month. At the end of the month, what happens? Money enters the account. That's a ritual in the strict sense of a ritual. What's the difference between the ritual of the person eating poo-poo and the ritual of the person going to work? The person going to work every day believes that because of the work he's doing, at the end of the month, he will be paid. Right?
Yeah.
Now, it's something we can understand, we can explain it because we've studied it. The person eating poo-poo or killing a cow and burying the head or doing whatever, what he's doing is also a ritual. He's doing something by activating his belief system. Okay? Everything a human being is based on your belief system. If you're poor, it's your belief system. If you're rich, it's your belief system. So what happens is your belief system dictates everything you do, every single thing you do, right? Now, what's the difference between the Babalawo's money? Now, do I believe that you can go to do some ritual, and when you get home, whether you like it or not, you open one drawer and money is just coming out every day? Personally, I don't believe it. I've not seen it happen. What I have seen is people going to perform some rituals, sleeping in a graveyard, having sex with a dead body. What they're doing is a biblical principle. They're actually using the Bible. They just don't know it. The Bible says faith without works is dead. In other words, whatever you believe, the moment you attach physical work to it to manifest what you believe, it will happen. So what they're doing is activating that law of attaching an action with a belief system. When they do that, they don't come home and it's very common. Somebody's asking, what's this fascination with poo-poo? Trust me, there is a lot of rituals, what they call Yahoo Plus, that involves that, and that's why we're using it. So what the Yahoo Plus people, when they've done whatever they do that they've been commanded to do, they don't come home and open their drawer and there is money. What do they come home and do? They come home and go on their laptop, and with renewed confidence that they have a power behind them, they try to do their trade being Yahoo, but they do it with so much more confidence. And the first result they get, you know what happens? Their belief system is strengthened. They believe it is that thing that worked. The farmer who you tell, wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the farm, but before you start farming, spit on the ground, make a mold of a ball, and spread it all over your farm before you start tilling the ground. When he does that at 4 a.m., and you tell him, do that every day for 30 days, at the end of 30 days, what do you think will happen? He will harvest.
Yeah.
But what does he believe was responsible for his harvest? He believed it was the ritual. He does not see that it was the work. Because what then happens is that your whole belief system is activated in the direction that this person is what he did, but really all that person has helped you do is not very different from what a pastor helps you do. You are going for a job interview on Monday. On Sunday, you tell your pastor, what does he tell you? Kneel down, let us pray. He holds your hand and he tells you, this job is yours. God has just told me this job is yours. When you go for the job interview on Monday and you see 20 other people, because of what your pastor told you, you may start feeling sorry for the other 19 and say, hey, yeah, these people are wasting their time here because this job is my own. When you're going for the interview and they're asking you questions, even if you don't know the answer, you'll be confident. See, this job is my own. It does not matter. And at the interview, the people interviewing you will likely see, this is a very confident young man. He spoke very boldly. He said, we like this kind of attitude. And guess what? You would likely get the job. And what will you say gave you the job? Your confidence? No. Your attitude? No. You will say, my pastor prayed for me yesterday. So what I'm hoping people learn is you can activate these things in yourself with education. And when I say education, I mean broad knowledge. When you understand these things, when you know this is the system that works, this is how it operates. When I'm going out, after this call, I'll go out. I'm going to enter my car and push a button. The car will start because I understand the system. If I push the button and the car does not start, first thing I will do is I will check, do I have the key? I'm not going to start praying. Do I have the key? The key is with me. I will check the battery of the key. Because I understand how the system works. I know where the fault areas lie. Once I've identified the fault area, the car will start, unless there's a bigger fault in the engine, in which case I will call a mechanic. So that's how even making money is that process. How some people need their pastors to pray for them, and some people need to read the Bible before they sleep, and some people need to wake up at 4 a.m. to meditate. Some people believe if I pray before the sun comes up, this will happen. All of those things are activations of your belief system. That's all. Once you can activate your belief system, faith, in a manner that makes you work, you will get the results. And that's what the ritual people, in my opinion, that's what they are doing. They are simply forcing you to activate your belief system by doing something so extreme that you normally will not do it, because that is what places your belief system at a very high pedestal, something you ordinarily would not do. So they tell you, wake up at 1 a.m. But one of the rituals I did in just after secondary school when I was doing Cambridge GCE, every single night, I would sleep between 6 and 7 p.m. and wake up between midnight and 1 a.m. and study till morning, every single day. Now, if my pastor or if a Babalawo told me, Zeal, this is the way to pass the exam, but you cannot read when the sun is up, wait, when everybody is sleeping, only you wake up and read, you will pass. Will I pass? Absolutely. Because at 1 a.m., you're just waking up, your brain is fresh, your ability to absorb is higher, there is no distraction. But they don't teach you that, they just tell you do it. And that's the difference.
Okay. Zeal, I want you to speak to Ponzi scheme. It's very rife in Nigeria right now, starting with sports betting, for example. Everywhere you turn, there is sports betting. I know that betting is a big business, global. As a family life coach, I've had parents. In fact, there was a boy who literally sold his parents' house. After he had used his school fees to bet, school fees in America, he now got his father's property and sold his house in America to betting, right? It was a major issue. The father was livid. They were going to disown him and blah, 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 blah. But in addition to betting, Ponzi schemes. So people have lost money to agricultural Ponzi scheme, which was very, very rife. 70%, you get 70% monthly. We guarantee you 40% monthly and things like that. What do you have to say? Because people are listening and we want our people to be able to build both wealth and assets, right? And that's one of the simplest ways that I think that people can lose everything they have ever in, because again, they can build a pattern. Can that become habitual? And can people make money through that? And, what exactly do you have to say as someone who is an expert, when it comes to helping people to know where to place their money?
Can it become habitual? Absolutely. Can you make money from it? Absolutely. Can you lose money from it? Absolutely. Everything to answer to everything is yes. So the question is, when we refer to Ponzi schemes, we're referring to a scheme where you put in money, they promise you a return. The issue with Ponzi schemes is that the Ponzi scheme
looks like Zeal's network is challenged. Okay, so we wait for Zeal to get back. I'm sure his network will be up again. But what has it been for you so far? What have you learned so far? Can you hit the comment box What has it been for you like so far? What has been your most profound lesson from what Zeal is sharing? I'm sure it will be back in a bit, but let's take your learnings. What have you learned so far? Or you want to mute yourself and share? I thought it was, building systems again is showing up, and talking about creating a trust for your children. I think that's very profound, especially if you're an activist. Okay, I can see Mary Jane said the mindset. I can see Dr. Fumi, everything is mindset. A mindset to anticipate excess. Abiola is saying difference between wealth and riches. That's been profound for you. Okay, where are the other people? Can I have you? Building a system, if you're an activist, please, that trust fund issue is speaking to you. Go and do something, especially you want to fight for Nigeria or fight for America. Your children must not suffer. Okay, our beliefs, our mindset, all add up. Okay, the definition of poverty, your belief system influences you. Yeah, very correct. Okay, what you believe is part of what you get. Knowing what, okay, Zeal is back. Okay, Zeal, welcome back.
Sorry.
Yeah.
NEPA, the Wi-Fi went off.
Okay.
So I was talking about Ponzi schemes. I was saying the issue with Ponzi schemes is that you can't get your money back unless somebody else comes in, which is what I call the pyramid scheme. So I take 100 Naira from Praise and I spend it on my lifestyle, right? When it's time to give Praise back the money, me and Princess will give me $100 each. Then I give Praise back his $100. I spend another $100 on my lifestyle. Then I get 5 more people to give me, then I give them back, and that's why it becomes a pyramid scheme, because you need more and more people to come in for you to redeem the obligation. When it gets really big, it's only mathematically, it's only a matter of time when the inflow is less than the accumulated obligations, at which point you say the pyramid scheme collapses. Now, how do you identify a pyramid scheme? They always offer you more than realistic returns in businesses that you really cannot see how they are making it. Right? Someone tells me, I'll give you 70% return every month. What business are you doing? Say we're farming. I'm not really explaining to me. So not all high returns are Ponzi schemes. And the example I will give is, if you see a trader, and I'm emphasizing trader, somebody who buys and sells, and this person, right, has a 1% margin on his business, just 1%, and he invests $100,000. What this means is that his profit on $100,000 is just 1,000. He makes only 1% margin. 1% margin is very, very small. If that business, he can reduce the trade cycle to 1 day. You know what that means? It means that every single day, he's going to make $1,000. 1%. It means in a month, he makes how much? 30%.
Yeah.
So you meet somebody like that, and he wants to borrow $100,000 from you and tells you, please, give me $100,000. Every month, I will give you 10% return. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme. But when you understand what he's doing, he's probably laughing at you, because he will take your $100,000, turn it around every single day, make 30,000 for the business in a month, give you 10 and keep 20, and keep doing that. At the end of 5 months, he can give you back your money and start doing it himself. At the end of a year, he has tripled the money. So it depends on what the person is doing with the money. But generally speaking, a lot of people that fall prey to Ponzi schemes, if you interrogate it, why do you have money to put in a Ponzi scheme instead of having money to use? It implies you don't have a use for the money. That's my understanding. You can have money that you want to invest in a short while and all that, yes. But people that have money and they put in, what you needed money you got the money. Did you deploy the money? No, I don't think it's anybody goes out and says, I want to, well, actually, let me rephrase. People do it. I've met people that do it. I just find it unusual. Somebody says, I want to make money so I can invest. And know what I ask them? Okay, when you invest, what will you get back? They say more money. So you want to make money so you can make more money. What exactly are you going to use the money for? Do you understand? I want money to buy a house. Buy the house. If you have extra money and you don't know what to do with it, I know there was this, I can't remember who it was that said it. What they asked him, what is poison? And he said, poison is anything you have beyond what you need. So if ever you have money beyond what you need, so which is why I started with whatever you do, plan a use for the money first. You make money, you want to do this. When I have excess money that's not going into a pre-designed program, you know what I do? I give it out. I find a way to give it out. Now, when I say give it out, does not mean I don't invest. I could give it out in the sense that I'm buying shares in someone's company, not on the stock exchange. I'm always looking for an investment I can do that will give me a multiplier on my investment. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is interest does not multiply your assets. If you invest at 10% per annum, it will take 8 years to double your money, 7 years to double your money, give or take. 7 or 8 years. Do you understand? So if you have $10,000 and you put it at 10% interest, in 7 years' time, you will have 7 or 8 years, you will have $20,000. So I asked myself, this $10,000, what can I do that it can double in 6 months or 1 year? So I can look for someone's business and say, this business looks good. If you have more capital, it can grow. I would deploy it there. Right? Now, in deploying it there, I also understand I may lose it. And I'm prepared for that as well. So it's a delicate balance. Ponzi schemes are usually people who have money. They want to, quote and unquote, get rich quick. They don't know how to do it. And they've been sold a dummy that somebody else knows how to double your money in 3 or 4 months, and they agree. Well, I said, if those kind of schemes were really true, and everybody would be rich now, because we're going to borrow money from the bank and double it in 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. Okay, Zeal, thank you very much. You touched a bit on where I wanted to go next, which is the stock exchange, stock market. You know, again, you hear everybody buy shares, buy shares, buy shares. You know, other people will tell you buy land, buy land. You know, like I always say jokingly, in Lagos, everywhere is close to Dangote refinery, including Ore. Ore is now 5 minutes away from Dangote refinery. It's just that you'll be going spiritually till you land in Ore. So you are still close to Dangote refinery and all. Now, I mean, what will be in planning someone's portfolio? What will be your professional expert counsel, you know, for someone who is listening to us and say, okay, I want to build my war chest, you know, and I align with what you just said to say, be an angel investor, you know, from someone's business and, you know, you can lose the money, but again, you can also, you know, make the money back and double it. What would be your, you know, expert's opinion? Again, people don't even know who to talk to. There are so many stockbrokers who say they are professional stockbrokers, we're expert, but you know they don't have your interest at heart. You know, so what should people be looking out for practically in building their war chest?
So what I'll say is this, so I'm not misunderstood. Investing is very good. Even if it is investing in a fixed deposit or stock, all that is very good. But it depends on what your risk profile is, what your risk appetite, what are you investing for? So somebody that comes and tells you, I want to invest for my children's school fees over the next 10 years. His risk profile is different from somebody who tells you, I have a little money. My rent is due in January. I just want to keep the money until my rent is due. So it's not just sitting down. So it's different from the risk profile of I have half my rent. My rent will be due in December. I need this half to double by December so I can pay my rent, right? So it depends. There's something one of my mentors used to tell me. Well, he still says it. I hope I can remember. He said between 30 and 40, you accumulate. Between 40 and 50, you consolidate.
Yeah.
Between 50 and 60, I think 50 and 60, you consolidate. Between 60 and 70, you liquidate, because it depends on your age, it depends on your risk profile. What I would advise a 45-year-old man that has no children is not the same thing I would advise if the same 45-year-old man with 3 children. Because so it depends on what many things around your risk profile, your outlook, what you want to do and all that. So the stock market is good if you're investing, if you understand it. Personally, I don't invest in anything I do not understand. So as I am, I don't understand the stock market in Nigeria. I don't. There are many reasons. I want to talk about that. So the only investment I have in the stock market is for my company, because that's money that can be kept. So I invested in companies that they ride inflation. They are FMCG, they are fast-moving consumer goods, so that they are the definition of inflation. Because if inflation is going up, it's because those people are increasing their prices. And if they're increasing their prices, it means their turnover is going up. If their turnover is going up, it means their share price is also going up, likely. So I invested in those things. It's like an inflation hedge, because they are the definition of inflation. But if you want to multiply your wealth, I always tell people, look for what adds value to people, right? I will also tell you, I don't know how to give somebody money to multiply wealth. If you want to multiply your wealth, you have to look at risking your capital. People don't like hearing that. But like I said, interest will take you 8 to 10 years to double your money. And that's because you don't want to risk your capital. If you want to risk your capital, there are some businesses that double in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. But the issue is a lot of people that see themselves, or rather, a lot of people in poverty being the mindset of constantly anticipating lack, never see the funds they have as long-term. And they cannot think of losing it. And so they cannot think of any investment that will risk that capital. And that's where the saying comes from: the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Because the rich man will be willing to risk some of his capital. The poor man can't. He really can't afford to risk any of his capital. That thing he has to hold it very tight. The rich man that has $1 million sitting somewhere, and you come and tell, he has satisfied all his day-to-day needs, right? And you tell him there's this business opportunity. If you put $200,000, we may be able to make $200,000 over the next 6 months. He can do it. But you gotta meet the man who has the same $1 million, but what he needs to do with the money in his mind is keep it in case of tomorrow. And you tell him, bring 200,000, we may lose it, or he will not agree. After 1 or 2 years, he's probably still going to have his $1 million, but his other counterpart is probably going to have 3 or 4. So when investing, you have to first look at your risk profile. Are you single? Are you married? How old are you? Have you sorted out your house? Do you pay rent? Do you have steady income? You look at all those things. Then how much do you have? What time frame do you need the money for? What type of returns? Then you can then design a portfolio for the person. Some people tell them, you know what, you just want to keep this wealth. You want to keep it for 1 year safe, put it in the bank. You want to double it, or you want to own a business that can generate you more money in the future. So there are different things you tell different people subject to their risk profile.
Okay. Now, globally, now they're talking about another credit crunch, economic meltdown. and inflation rate is rising. I mean, Nigeria, don't even go there. Even in the UK, inflation is rising. Now, in a layman's terms, what exactly happens when there is economic meltdown globally? And what decisions should people who don't want to lose their money, what decisions do they need to take at those moments? I wanted to explain it in a layman's term, because sometimes when we hear global economic crunch, meltdown, they don't understand what is going on. So there are people here who love to see their 10 million inside their bank account. They love to see and say, it has increased to 11 million tomorrow. I am very rich, but they don't even understand what inflation is saying. They don't even understand that it was like a man who said he moved money from America to go and buy a house in Nigeria, about 5 years ago or something, when dollar was like 200 and something, and he was saying that the house right now is worth less than he actually invested. But his asset is, asset is, it will always rise. It will always rise. But again, so can you, in layman's term, in the most simplest way, explain exactly what happens to us?
So if there's a global economic meltdown, whenever you have economic uncertainty, the popular saying is cash is king. Yeah, it is both the riskiest time to invest and also the most profitable time to invest. But again, you have to know where you're investing. So when you have a global economic crisis or even an economic crisis, you're going to find that a lot of businesses will collapse and a lot of businesses will grow massively. You just need to know which is which. What we would generally tell people is hold your cash until you find the right opportunity to invest. So when there's a crisis, even with property, what you would find is when there's a crisis, the liquid assets will reflect the price anomaly first. So currency would depreciate very quickly. We'll see that quickly. Then the stock market would follow next before the property market. So the property market is usually the last to be impacted. But that's because you cannot fragment a house. If I have $1 million and I'm desperate, I can sell a part of it. If I have 100,000 shares, I can sell a part of it. If I have a house, I cannot sell a room. So people will not sell the house until things are really bad. And when things are that bad that people have to start liquidating fixed assets, you would usually be able to get them at a very steep discount. And usually if you can provide the liquidity quickly, so that's why we say cash is king. You can find businesses that are solving genuine needs that are viable in the long term, but because the economy is bad, people are not consuming, the business is not looking that great, you may be able to buy into the company at a massive discount. And then when things normalize in 2 years or 3 years, you find that the value of the company has gone up by 10. You need to have that ability to be patient and have some foresight, have some understanding of what's going on. You also need to have the relative comfort of not being desperate. So to put yourself in, now again, the poverty I spoke about, that is a mindset. There's also environmental poverty, where whether you like it or not, the environment you are in forces you to constantly anticipate lack. Right? For instance, whether I like it or not, the mere fact I live in Lagos, in Nigeria, you know what it means? Whether I like it or not, I have to constantly anticipate that there will be a lack of power. And so I have to go and buy plenty diesel and keep, because I don't want power to go out and I don't have diesel. So no matter how exposed I am, or say hello, okay, bye. Bye. No matter how exposed I am, no matter how knowledgeable I am, I must, because of the environment I'm in, constantly anticipate that there'll be a lack of power. That's what I call the environmental poverty. I can't help it. I can only adjust to it. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not as if you say, oh, once this person has this knowledge, then you when you understand the environment you operate in, you just have to adjust. The only difference is that you're not adjusting in a manner that is toxic to you. So what did I do? Do I want to have to be buying 50 liters every week and then I'm exposing myself to the scarcity that may or may not happen? No, I don't want to do that. So what I've done is you go and build a big tank, put your diesel in it, and you solve the problem for 3 to 4 months. And 3 to 4 months, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not anticipating that lack. So it frees you from that poverty mindset in that area. You understand? So once you've sorted out, once you can arrange your life in such a way that you have, and what I tell people that money, what I want money from is to buy freedom. You own your own house, you are free from a landlord. You get a great generator with a large diesel tank, you are free from the power issues. Once you set yourself free from those issues by investing in those areas in yourself, then you can settle down to think of what to do with money. As long as your thinking about money is on a subsistence level, day-to-day survival, month-to-month survival, it's very, very hard to grow it. Very, very, very hard.
Okay, Zeal, if you have any question for Zeal, please, now is the time to send the question privately to me. But Zeal, I want you to explain building, consolidating, and liquidating. You mentioned that, right? I know that you consolidate assets for people, right? I think that's the space you play. But how do I build? What does it mean to build for me? What does it mean to consolidate? And what does liquidation?
Let me tell you what my mentor actually said. I found it here. He said at 30 to 40, you speculate. At 40 to 50, you accumulate. 50 to 60, you consolidate. 60 to 70, you liquidate.
So can you explain that process?
30 to 40, you speculate. What does speculation mean? Take risk. Right? At 30 to 40, you're generally young. Your risk profile is not that high. You are youthful, reckless. That's the time you take risks. You take as much as you can. You try your hands on as many things as you can. Your responsibilities are in that age frame are not that much and all that. So you speculate in that time frame. That speculation would help you either make money or learn lessons. Now, based on what you've done between 30 and 40, when you get between 40 and 50, you now start to accumulate assets based on the learning and the results of the speculation you have already done. You then accumulate. That accumulation, where are you accumulating it into? You're accumulating it into assets and investments and things like that. When you get to 50, between 50 and 60, your earning ability starts to depreciate. You can't really wake up at 6 a.m. and be going to work 5 days a week anymore. So at that point in time, you then consolidate your assets in such a manner, you pull them together in such a way that they are now the ones sustaining you. Between 60 and 70, you liquidate those assets. Basically, spend. Holding assets as a 65-year-old man, you want to start building a 20-story building at 65. Maybe a good idea, may not be. But at 60 to 70, you liquidate your assets so that you can live your life and enjoy it. There's not much time left. Yeah.
Okay. So Zeal, in order of personal preference, if I have to choose between maybe doing angel investing or going into real estate or maybe doing stock market, in order of priority, what would it be for you?
Before I answer that, Praise, based on the topic of today, there's something I've not said that I think is very important. When you have a lot of money, when you've made a lot of money. So for instance, I would travel. I've traveled once and I saw this pen I liked. The pen was about $1,000 and I bought it. All right. I came back. A few of my friends who know me were like, God, Zeal, isn't this very exorbitant? It's extravagant. It's very unlike you. I know how some people want to guilt trip you. Do you know how many people it would have fed? Do you know how many school fees it would have paid? Blah, blah, blah. So I came up with a formula for myself. whenever I'm spending on anything that I consider to be extravagant or exorbitant, some people say, oh, don't do it extravagant. I say, no, 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 no. I'm working hard to enjoy myself.
Mm-hmm.
I will enjoy myself to the fullest. I just will not do it at the expense of anybody else. So if I buy anything I consider to be extravagant, I will deliberately set aside the same amount of money to help people in need. So when someone says, oh, this thing you did, do you know it could have done this? I tell them, it has already done it. Leave me alone. So that's my personal mantra. Reason I do that as well is that it keeps me in the mindset of abundance. I said poverty is the mindset of lack. Wealth is the mindset of abundance. The mindset of lack cannot think about giving because it never thinks it has enough. The mindset of abundance will only think about giving because it considers itself to have enough. And so whatever I'm doing, I always think that whatever I have is more than enough. So I'm not reluctant to give. People think, oh, people hear me say things like that and they call me, Zeal, I need this. I tell them, givers never lack. But the first thing givers never lack? Givers never lack the ability to say no.
No.
So you come to me, you say, oh, so you say, yeah, I said all that. I need this. No. Then, but you say, yes, I give, but I don't throw away. I give. So convince me that this is necessary. If it's not necessary, I'm not doing it. I don't, you know what? So it's important that whatever you do, one of the secrets of making money is always to consider that you have more than enough. And that opens you. And there's a law of the universe. I don't know how it works, but those that give, that mindset of giving, it even changes how you look. People that are generous look different from people that are stingy. If you ask a child to draw a stingy person, they usually draw a very shriveled person. So how you look changes. And when that look and that aura of giving, the mindset of giving creates an energy field around you, and people feel the energy field. And the Bible even tells you somewhere in, if I remember correctly, somewhere in Matthew, where it says that those who don't have,
what they have
will be taken from them. And why? That's the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Why? Because those who don't have, it's referring to those, it's not saying we will be unjust to poor people. It's saying those with a poverty mindset that withhold more than is necessary, it will be taken from you. It's the same parable of the talent. The person will want 2 talents and 5 talents. They went and traded. They risked the talents. That's what I mean by you have to risk your capital. They risked the talents and they doubled it. The person with 1, what did he do? He was looking to keep the money safe. He was looking for safety. And if you think about it, most of us say, this thing I have, let me not waste it. I don't want my guy to shout at me. Let me keep this, which is what most of us would do. But that's the only person that was punished. So you see, we're being encouraged. Take some risk. Take reasonable risk. Don't go and throw your money in a Ponzi scheme. Take reasonable business risk. Don't outsource that risk to somebody else. Don't go and tell somebody else doing a Ponzi scheme, take the money. You go and risk it. You find what your hands can do. That's what I said about finding your own process. What is it that if you start this process, whether you like it or not, the output is money. When you've done all that, always remember, because I used to tell people, I know exactly how much I want in life. And I had a figure, I still have a figure. But over and above what I want in life, I have interacted with people who little amount of money can change their lives. And so I'm also telling myself, any excess I have, I must find those kind of people and invest in them. Whether I'm lending them the money or dashing them the money or paying their children's school fees or whatever I'm doing. So what that helps me do is that it keeps my mindset in the mindset of abundance. I get this, I need to give out, And so money flows, we call it cash flow. Money must flow. If you become a bottleneck to the flow of money, the universe will stop giving it to you. It must flow. People always look for their destiny helper. I would appreciate meeting a destiny helper. But more important for me is I want people to meet me and I become their destiny helper. I want people to say in 10 or 20 years, if not for Zeal, I won't be a rich man. You know, I think in my opinion, I believe the universe would appreciate that more than you accumulating unnecessarily. Yes.
So what will be your order of preference, Zeal? I'll come back to that question.
Yes. Between what? Say it again.
Real estate, being an angel investor, going the route of what's it called now? Stock market in whatever country of the world, you know.
Again, it's, you know, the best way I would say it is to segment your investment portfolio and spread it in different time buckets. So let me put it this way. If I need to invest in my first child's university, something's okay, by the time he's entering university, I want to be able to hold something and give him back. I would rather put it in stock market. Let's say Apple shares, for example. I know, okay, in 7 or 8 years' time, take the money and do that. If I'm thinking, okay, I want to give my children wedding present when they are getting married, then I can do real estate and buy a house and say, okay, in 20 years' time, but I'm not going to give them that house, but that house would have a value equivalent to another house somewhere, isn't it? I can sell that house at whatever. Yeah. So it depends on the time horizon. Personally, real estate investment is usually good if you have a lot of money and a longer time horizon, unless you're a developer. You get land cheap, you add value to the land, build structure, sell it off, 2-3 years. I know developers make 50 to 80%, sometimes more returns. Yeah. So but that is more transactional than long-term investing. So that would be my angel investing. Is where you are hoping that, okay, if you put your money in 5 or 6, not schemes, 5 or 6 business ideas, 1 or 2 might do times 10, 1 or 2 might stay flat, 1 or 2 you may lose the money. So you have to balance out the portfolio depending on your own needs. It's easier for somebody who has satisfied his need and just looking for what to do with money. But somebody who is thinking of, I need to pay school fees in 3 months, I need to do all these other things, telling them to go and do real estate is going to be really difficult because that's long term.
Okay. Now, finally, Zeal, before in the absence of no other question, you talked about building a financial mentality, a wealth mentality. Sorry. What are some of your recommendations?
Yes.
Because people hear all sorts. They will leave this meeting now. They're going to go for another meeting. Somebody's going to say something, you know, and so you are surrounded by, you know, witches might kill you, this might kill you, that might kill you. So you realize that the soul that is already liberal in this meeting becomes shrunk again. You know, so how can people build a wealthy mentality? You know, because I look at, I mean, I shared it here today, 2 weeks ago. Jews make money because they want to fight injustice. And that's why it's almost like recommended for every Jewish child to have an abundance mentality, a wealth mentality. Now look at the way our nation is. I see good people write a lot of articles. Oh, this is what can be. This is how to do da 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 da. But look at the people, at the delegates appointing people for us. As a matter of fact, it just dawned on me that during the APC delegates election, they were even announcing that some delegates cannot read and write, that those that can read and write should help them thumbprint or sign where they should. You know, it just dawned on me to say, does it mean that with all our intelligence, the illiterates are the ones who are going to appoint leaders for us? So let's even say we want to match PDP or take out PDP. It's going to cost money. We need to match these guys money for money. That's my pragmatic way of believing that Nigeria can change, apart from structure and systems. You know, how can people develop that abundant mentality? I mean, the wealth system, the wealth mindset. What are your recommendations, Zeal?
My recommendation is first, it requires, I like that you've brought up the Jews. A wealth mentality can be cultural, in which case it is passed on and you don't even know where you got it from because it's cultural. In Nigeria, we have a poverty mentality. And that is our culture that is passed on. We don't even realize it. So to work on that, you then have to be deliberate. The first thing is to recognize it. You have to, it is self-inflection. You have to ask yourself, okay, why did I not lend that person money? Why did I not do this for this person? And it requires, if you can develop a sense of empathy as well, it helps. If you start asking certain questions, when you go and pay your, okay, let me put it this way. I'll tell you what I did. I had a meeting and somebody told me, gave me an assignment. This was life-changing assignment. He said, put money in 30 envelopes. Put money in 30 envelopes. Any amount that you are comfortable putting in each envelope, put it in. And every single day for 1 month, give one person one envelope. Like, that's easy now. So I did it. Every day, give one person at a bus stop, give one. After 3 or 4 days, how is it going, Zeal? I said, it's going very well. It's very easy. He said, what are you doing? So I explained what I was doing. And they said, no, not like that. Then they gave 2 more conditions. Whoever you give the envelope, make sure it is the person that you think needs it the most that day. And number 2, have a conversation and physical contact with the person. Physical contact being handshake or hug, nothing more than that. And have a conversation with the person. Praise, for the next 3 days, I couldn't give out any envelope. I couldn't, because you know what it forced me to do? To find the person that needs it the most. I'm forced to take note of a whole human being. I have to look at you, and I have to look at you in comparison to everybody else I've seen. And I started noticing, you know what I noticed? Everybody looked like they needed it the most. So I couldn't do only one envelope. I felt guilty doing one. So I said, okay, can I do 2 or 3? They said, no, do 1. It became really hard because you look at people on the street, you just start to notice this human being looks like pain. This one looks like he's suffering, and you just can't help yourself. Once you start doing that, it helped me to start thinking of other people much more than I've ever done. And I started noticing this person needs pain, help. And then my desire for money changed. And all I was thinking was, I need money to build a hostel for homeless people. I need money so I can put 2 or 3 buses on the road. I'll just run free and be carrying people. Your need for money just shifts once you focus on the needs of other people. As long as you're focusing on only yourself, all we will do is complain. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I would tell people. And I would not say this in Osho, the bus stop, clearly. But in a group like this, I would say it. If you can pay attention to the needs of people around you, you are going to find a shift in how you interact with people. And that interaction I was having with them, there was one person I gave money at a bus stop in VI. I told my driver to an back. You won't believe, he said he left his office. He didn't have a dime, but he went to the bus stop saying to himself, God, I went to bus. If they will beat me when I get home, they will beat me, but I don't have money to pay. And then I just stopped. Now, in his own, imagine what he would say when he gets home. Is he going to say, somebody gave me money? He's not. He's going to say, I was at a bus stop. One angel just stopped and gave me money. And that's, in my opinion, that would strengthen his belief in God. And I did not even say anything about God. I don't pray with angel you hope to meet. I don't believe much in angels, praise between me and you. Because when I started reading the stories in the Bible of angels, you know what I started to realize? Angels were simply nice people with insight that come, they help you, they go. If you have a flat tire on 3rd Mainland Bridge and somebody stops, quickly helps you change your tire, gives you his spare, and he drives off, what would you say the next day? You say an angel just came help me. Yeah, that's what you would say. But just a kind human being. And I realized in order to grow personal wealth, mindset, empathy and kindness is a key ingredient. Because that's what helps you see other people. And all you're thinking is, I have all the money I have in my pocket. It will not solve any of my problems. And so if I meet somebody who it will solve his problem, I will happily give it to him. I mean, the money in my pocket is not all the money I have. I can go to an ATM. So that's what I think the first step in building wealth is, to consider other people first, what they need. When you see that, doesn't mean you solve all the problems in the world, but it changes your mindset. And as your mindset starts to change, the way you relate with other people and the way you relate with and around money changes. Also, I'm willing to do a lot of work for free. And people have brought mandates to me. I ask them, how much are we making? They will tell me. And I think to myself, this money is too small. But okay, let's just do it. And I'll do it for them for free. Having done it for free, people say, but I tell them, but this amount of money would have paid me to do nothing for me. Having done it for them for free, when they're in a meeting, sometimes they'll say, I know one guy, he did this thing for me. He didn't charge me because my amount was really small. This one, you have a big transaction, then they recommend you. And you find that by giving up something small, you get so I'm not saying it's a straight one-for-one relationship, but you see, when you have that mindset, it helps you with contentment when you start seeing other people. And I think that's the starting point for building wealth. In addition to reading that book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. It's a very good book.
Wow, Zeal, you have taken this through another dimension it's very, I woke up this morning and I saw a picture pop up on my timeline. And these were pictures that I took 9 years ago. So in 2003, I'd left paid employment and I went to Ajegunle to go and work with young people, started teaching them, grooming them every week, paid for the hall, paid for chairs, and I will still facilitate. Sometimes I'll clean the floor, mop the floor for them and stuff, And so I put those pictures of my final meeting with them 9 years ago before I handed the meeting over. And I'm looking at what people are saying. As in, there's a guy who is one of the big boys, real estate as a billionaire, said that on the whatever that praise, you don't know what you did for us for free way back. We cannot tell our story with people, all kinds of people. I'm looking at it. So when you talk about an angel, I didn't charge them, I didn't collect anything. I think that's very spot on, because I've also always have to think about it. I've never seen an angel with wings, showing up. How did they show up to Abraham and the rest of them and stuff like that? But I've experienced angelic visit, in human form. And I think that a lot of people can actually attest to that. So thank you very much, Zeal, for your amazing, amazing session. I know what we would have to pay if we have to come and consult privately, but this is what you have done again for relationship. Guys, can we appreciate Zeal? Zeal is one of us, so let's appreciate, let's appreciate him for today. Thank you very much, Zeal. God bless you. When we bring another very difficult topic, you are going to come back, because
I'm always here, don't worry.
Break it down to the simplest format. Thank you very much.
So no questions?
No question. No. Anybody with questions before Zeal goes finally, you can raise your hand. If you have a question, well, it looks like there's no. Okay, Abiola is raising her hand. Abiola, can you unmute yourself? That's just the only question I will take. Then we will take announcements. Abiola, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Praise, and thank you, Zeal, for that wonderful insights. Really enjoyable. I just want to ask you, with what is going on now in the economy, where you see a lot of people, let me use the word they are using now, japa, as in leaving the economy because of what is going on. What's your view about that? And I know that looking at you, and I know about you, you worked with my husband in Standard Chartered, so I know you're widely traveled. With what you know about the economies outside and what is happening in the economy, would you advise that the youth continue to look at that jackpot system, or you think from your view, your outlook, there is still hope somehow?
So it depends. And I'll give you two instances. A cactus grows in the desert. If a cactus looks at a rose that is in very good soil and watered every day and says, me, I'm suffering in the desert in all this heat, I want to go to where the rose is. If you transplant the cactus to where the rose is, you know what will happen? The cactus will die. The cactus is designed to live in that environment. So that's one perspective, that sometimes in the environment you find yourself that seems harsh, that harshness is what would bring out the very best in you. That's one perspective. Then there's the perspective of Moses and Joseph in the Bible. When things were hard for the Hebrew children and they had Moses jackpot to Pharaoh's palace. When Herod was looking for Jesus to kill him as a baby, Mary and Joseph, they jackpot. So it depends. It depends. There's no single answer that is correct. It depends on you. Me, I'm here. Do I have Praise has even introduced me, but he would have noticed I dragged my feet. I just believe that I'm here to make an impact. The only difference between me and many other people is I owe my children a responsibility to do the best I can for them. And so I look at myself and ask myself, is leaving my children here the best I can do for them? If your answer is yes, then it's okay. If your answer is no, then you have to find a way around it. So to leave or not to leave, it entirely depends on what you want to achieve.
I'll just speak a bit to that as well. In real estate, they say that real estate is location, 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 location. So you need to sometimes define the real estate that you are in, or you determine your seed, and you determine if the best soil for your seed. I deal in intellectual property. That's my primary business, right? If you're intellectual property driven, you know what will likely happen if you are primarily in Africa, right? Except your book is government, like Wole Soyinka, you're writing The Lion and the Judge. Those are not the kind of books I'm writing. And those are not the kind of, every time I'm talking in Nigeria, somebody's fighting me. Somebody's saying that, Praise, you are saying we should not pray. You are saying you don't believe in demons. Since I moved, I have not had that conversation at all, right? And so my life is stressless. I will work better, right? And I have more clients who are because the system again is credit driven. So if I charge like $10,000 for a job to coach someone, all the person asks me is, Praise, how can I spread my payments over 20 months? All the person needs to do is lock in their card and they will be deducted across 20 months. I can't achieve that in Nigeria because we have to pay cash. And it was CSR that most of us were doing. So again, you need to check if what you're doing is real estate. Nigeria might even pay you more, especially if you're a developer, because there are so many things you can circumvent, that they will not catch you for. Here, you are not going to break any law. You will have to do everything that needs to be done to even be able to develop a property. So don't be moved by what everyone is doing. Not everyone can leave, but if maybe you belong to a particular tribe in Nigeria where once you leave school, at least you can become a permanent secretary or a DG, guaranteed, just by your first name, or contract is assured, then, you have no reason to, why would I want to leave if I was in that category? So again, I built proper structure that is still running in Africa before I moved. So don't just get into the frenzy and say, Everybody's moving. If you move, you might struggle. Trust me, you might. I started work from the one that I moved in here because I was clear what I was coming to do. I had my entry strategy. Even at that, I remember my first payment. You know, I did a class, parenting class. 9 people attended. They paid $250. I think Wale is here. Wale was one of the first people that encouraged me. You know, I looked at the money, 9 people, $250. It looked very small. I was very upset. Then my cousin said, Praise, you just got in and you had 9 people in class. That's massive success. And I looked at it really, this is a new environment. You know, so you need to understand your optics, understand the country, do your research properly, then ensure that you have a community that you are going to land into. The community that will make life easy for you, or else you just realize that every time, if you are trusting Naira to power dollar, you might just be shocked, right? You know, so that's what I just wanted to add, because I mean, it's a practical experience that I've been involved in. And I was in Nigeria for 3 years, even when my family had moved, you know. So again, you need to do what works for you. In the absence of no other questions, Zeal, we have to appreciate you and say thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you. We appreciate you. So everyone, we want to say thank you to Zeal. God bless you. So please, if you are our member and you have not, we don't have your name on our database, next week we move to phase 2 of this task. And phase 2 is going to be, you know, slightly higher than what we've been doing. Once we move to phase 3, then we will lock the door from outside. What that means is you only need to be a proper member within to be able to bring people in, and that level, it's not going to be free, right? Trust me, it's not going to be free. Okay. You know that values have been, and I can say this, you know, whenever we say give to support, it's not because we really need what you are giving to power the program. Yes, I mean, that will make our job easy, because then we don't need to move funds from our company to do many of the things we're doing and pay for some of the platforms we're using and all. But I can tell you, since we started, what we have that people have contributed, you know, it's about 300,000 there, but I don't have the perfect figure. I think the accountant has it, you know. So, but consider the value we had every week in here, right? It's the least you can do to support the program. So I'm going to hand over to our professional moderator. Gani, are you there, or is it Ayo that is taking over?
Yes, I'm back.